Hello, Fáilte. I'm just going to do a quick video today about messages from Irish gods and goddesses and ancestors and the Sidhe and all of that, the Irish fairies, in the Irish language. And I'm just going to share a little bit about my experience with that and some of the things that I'm seeing in the communities online which are causing me to raise a bit of an eyebrow. And yeah, basically, in my experience, yes, the Morrigan does deliver. Particularly, I'm going to talk about the Morrigan because that's been the experiences that I've had with messages in the Irish language. So sometimes when I'm guiding in the cave, in her specific cave, her fit abode, which is Cruachan in County Roscommon, the Cave of the Cats, Oinagat, or Uv Nagach, that's there. There have been times when I've been there, particularly, that the Morrigan has spoken through me. Now, this is not part of a tour guide experience generally, but sometimes I have been called in my priesthood aspect to act as a channel and deliver messages in that way. So sometimes that happens during tours in the cave. You can't sign up for that. It's not part of the package, just to be very clear. I'm not even doing tours anymore. Well, I'm not doing tours in the current climate and with my current health conditions that are going on. So it's not an option right now, but it obviously has been something that I've done for the last 15 years. So I have a lot of experience with this. The Morrigan does sometimes deliver messages for people that are not me in Irish, Irish Gaeilge, in our Irish language. And one of the things that I have very much found, now I don't know why they do that. I don't know why gods do this. It is definitely a thing that happens. But one of the things that I've found every single time is that the Irish language that these messages are delivered in is a more fluent version of the language, and occasionally an older version of the language than I am fluent in, but it is always, always perfect. The Gaeilge is perfect, right? That's something to bear in mind, to the point where a lot of the time I'm able to kind of follow along. Now, the problem with me when I'm guiding like that or delivering a message is I don't actually retain it because it's not for me. It's not my message. It's not stuff that I hold on to. So I deliver it, it gets said, and it's not up to me to interfere with whether the person understands it, whether the person remembers it, whether the person retains it. I have faith that the person will hear what they need to hear. Obviously, every single thing that you hear is retained unconsciously and subconsciously. Whether it's available to your conscious mind or not, I think that there's other stuff working away there that consciously some random American who gets this message may have no conscious version of or way to access, but it's there, it's developed, it becomes part of their journey from that point on. So whatever that message is, that happens, okay? That is delivered, that is my job done. It is their job then to figure out whatever is happening, whatever is filtering in through consciously to their practice, whatever they do manage to understand or retain. I don't know. Most of the time, again, in my experience, when that happens, they don't understand what it is. And I'm not sure that they're supposed to understand what it is consciously. Those are theosophical discussions for other videos. The point about the language is that it is delivered fluently and perfectly. And whether that person understands it or not is another thing. Now, recently, within communities, within fairy witchcraft communities, within Celtic Paganism communities, within Irish Paganism communities, online, even within our own Irish Pagan School community, we've had multiple, and I'm not dragging anybody, I'm not going to name any names. Like I said, this is happening across the board. It's been happening for months, if not years. And what will happen is somebody will come in and say that somebody, some god, some goddess, some ancestor, some fairy, some she spirit, some, spirit that they're connected with in some way, shape, or form, that entity has provided them with this message, which they think means X, Y, and Z, and that they'd like the Irish language version of, and it sounded like this thing, they'll say it phonetically or whatever, and they've looked it up and it may be this or it may be that, and and they're coming to the group for ostensibly they're coming to the group for support with the language, but the feeling is that a lot of the time they're coming to the group to say, hey, look, I got this name from this deity, or I got this, message from this deity, and here's how important I am that this deity is speaking to me, and they're speaking to me in Irish, or this fairy or she or whatever, right? And most often the supposedly Irish language message that has been delivered, and you can spot the difference here for yourself, most often the language is not fluent. It is not even basically grammatically correct, whether that's in modern Gaeilge or older Gaeilge. And bearing in mind, I have received messages in both modern Irish Gaeilge and in what I don't speak Old Irish, but in what I'm presuming is a very fluent older Irish, which seems quite alien to me as it's coming out my mouth. I do speak modern Irish, and there are similarities, but essentially they are different languages, and the Irish language has gone through multiple developments. They're always fluent. Any message I've received, I can only give you my experience, they're always fluent, and I don't always understand what's happening. I don't always understand. Occasionally I do, but I don't always understand the message that's coming through me. I don't retain it. I don't believe that we're supposed to necessarily understand it. I believe we're supposed to hear it and integrate it and incorporate it into our subconscious, through there into our unconscious, and it does actually become part of our spiritual practice after that, the practice of the person that the message is intended for, or their spiritual growth or development or connection or relationship building, or whatever the point of it is. I'm not a god or goddess, so I'm not going to fucking say that I know what the point of it is. I'm just the messenger, right? If you're getting fucking messages that look like and sound like they're after coming through Google Translate in a language you don't speak, there's something wrong there. Something not right. Now, I'm not saying people are consciously, specifically trying to fool these groups that they're going into. Maybe some people are. I don't know. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case. I do believe people are often fooling themselves in that they've heard something or looked something up or have some, memory of a term or a phrase that they've heard at some point or researched at some point badly through Google Translate, and that it maybe comes up again when they're, in dreams or in journey work or in meditation or whatever that is, and that they're maybe not consciously making the connection between that thing that they would like to be a part of themselves or their own personality or their ego or their relationship with a particular entity. And what's actually happening then is it regurgitates, but it's not actually coming from that entity. It's coming from projection, wishful thinking, wish fulfillment, personal bias, a need for whatever XYZ is going on with that person, right? So that's me being very generous. And, looking at kind of best case scenarios here. But I am very, very dubious that an Irish god, an Irish goddess, an Irish deity who comes from this land, the people, the language, or a member of Daoine Maithe, the Sidhe, the Good Neighbours, or an ancestor who would have grown up fluent with the language here on this island. I am very fucking skeptical that they do not know, if they're going to go and deliver a fucking message in the Irish language, that they do not know how to conjugate, or where a shevu goes, or how the sentence structure works. Like, no, that's not an accurate message that you're getting. There's something else going on there, okay? And I know that's harsh, but this is not once or twice that I've seen this. This is 10, 15, 20 times over the last year or two, where the same fucking shit is being put through these online spaces and these online groups. I don't even know what's happening offline. This is what I'm seeing online. And no, it's not. All of these entities know how to speak Irish. They know how to speak Irish better than we fucking do. And if they're choosing to give a message to somebody, or a title to somebody, or a job description, or whatever the fuck it is, if they're choosing to give that to somebody, Gaeilge, they're not going to have incorrect fucking Gaeilge.